What's up, everybody? It's Pets and Smirgle. Got another deck profile coming for you today. Sorry for the lack of uploads lately, but check the most recent channel update that I put up. Should go up around the same time as this video, so it should be very recent for you if you want to know why I haven't been uploading. Also, just some time for me to vent in that. But anyways, let's jump into the deck profile. Sorry about that cough. I am not going to be attending Worlds, so none of the deck profiles that I'm going to be doing from here on out, including this one, are going to be the Worlds format, meaning XY to Steam Siege. These are all going to be, what is it? Ancient Origins, Primal Clash on deck profiles. I don't have any Steam Siege cards. So that's not going to reflect that, but you can obviously see where there would be space to move some Steam Siege cards in or out. And the deck profiles might get updated as I get Steam Siege cards in. And I thought I would kick things off with a deck that I think is going to be a top contender next season. And that is, if you look at the title, Mega Mewtwo X. So we're going to jump right into this with our EXs because it's a very heavy EX-based deck. I think EXs are going to be coming back in a big way, in certain ways in the next format, because I think we're going to see a lot of focus on Megas. A lot more Megas, I think, are going to become relevant because there's not decks like Night March or Seismitoad that really hinder the Mega decks. Seismitoad hinders the Mega decks because of the ability to, you're not able to attach a Spirit Link or go searching for your cards. You can't play items. And Night March is just too gosh darn fast. And Night March basically checked both Mega Mewtwo's into a corner and said, you can't be played because I can one-shot you even with your ridiculous HP. So we're jumping right in there. We're going to start with the Mewtwo EX with Shatter Shot. Now this is important because you do want this second attack here, damage change, which if you don't know what that does, you switch all damage counters on this Pokemon with those on your opponent's active Pokemon. So that makes it very deadly because your opponent has to basically one-shot this or one-shot a Mega in order to kill it. Now, I'll explain what I mean by that when we get to the stadiums. We are going to be playing a stadium called Shrine of Memories, which will allow us to use this Mewtwo's attacks while we are Mega Mewtwo as well. And Mega Mewtwo here, we're using the Vanishing Strike Mega Mewtwo 1 because Mega decks are going to find it hard in this format. Not as hard as with Night March running around, but with Giratina becoming very popular, it's going to be real hard to take down Giratina EX due to that ability. Vanishing Strike, however, if there's already a stadium in play, which means you have to play very carefully, unless you have Pokemon Ranger or something like that, Vanishing Strike will hit through Giratina's ability, stopping damage from Megas. So all you really have to do is have a stadium in play, and you're hitting 200 damage on that Giratina. Should knock it out, barring a Fighting Fury Belt. But you can also see the awkward attack cost of 1 Psychic, 2 Fighting, not being able to play things like Double Dragon Energy and whatnot. To get that energy on there, we have to do some creative things. Excuse me if you didn't hear that because I yawned. I said we have to do some creative things. You'll see that in the rest of our Pokemon. But we're playing a 3-3 Mewtwo Mega Mewtwo X line. We're also playing 2 copies of Shaman EX. Originally, I had 3 copies of this bad boy in here. This is this is like a 3rd or 4th stage draft, which still doesn't mean the deck is done. But it's not the very first stage draft of this deck I had, which did have 3 Shamans in it. And I might be leaning towards going back to that because of the weird energy counting thing we have to play to get Mega Mewtwo X's attack off. But I got real tired of starting with this guy, so we cut it down to 2. Next, we're playing 1 copy of Hoopa EX to go grab all of our EX Pokemon. It's also nice because you can technically attack with Hyperspace Fury in this deck because we do play a bunch of basic Psychics. We are playing 2 copies of Smeargle. What's up? We're playing 2 copies of my favorite Pokemon, Smeargle with second coat. Once During your turn, before you attack, you may switch a basic energy card attached to your active Pokemon with a different type of basic energy card from your discard pile. Now that's important because Mega Mewtwo X needing both fighting and psychic type energy to attack means we can kind of play around with our energy in our discard pile and use Smeargle's ability to put it on. And you guys know I'm going to be psyched to play Smeargle in a deck. I've been trying to play decks with Smeargle in it for a long time. Things like Machamp, Bronzong, Ariados, just random things, trying to throw Smeargle into a deck just so I can have fun playing it because it is my favorite Pokemon. Now I have an opportunity to do so, so we're going to do it. That's actually it for the Pokemon. Relatively small Pokemon count, which is why you might often start with Shaman or Hoopa. Starting with Smeargle is not too bad. It's not the greatest, but it's not bad. Next, we're playing 3 copies of Professor Sycamore. I couldn't find room for the 4th. I would love to find room for the 4th and a couple other supporters from Steam Siege in this deck, actually. But 3 Sycamores seems to work out just fine because we are playing 3 copies of N in this deck to be able to shuffle draw. Shuffle draw can be really important. I think it's going to be really, really important in this next format. So we're not seeing things like Battle Compressor to Battle Compressor away our supporters. So having a lot more shuffle draw is going to make your deck a little more consistent with some one-of cards. Now we're playing 2 copies of Lysander. This is important because we need to be able to control our knockouts. And it's also important because if our opponent's Pokemon has a bunch of damage on it and we go to damage change, we get those damage counters and we do not want that. We want to keep our Mega Mewtwo's and our Mewtwo's healthy as possible. So it's nice if we've got over 110 damage, we just Lysander up a Shaman right off that bench there. We damage change that thing into oblivion. Next, we're playing 1 copy of Skyla to be able to go find our stadium so Vanishing Strike can work. Be able to go find a Versus Seeker, be able to go find a Mega Turbo if we need it, be able to go find us another supporter for next turn if we need it. This card really helps move the deck along. More often than not, which kind of stinks, I find myself using this to go get a Spirit Link so I don't have to end my turn. But that's just my luck. And then last but not least, we are playing 1 copy of Hex Maniac to shut off opposing Giratinas or shut down Shamans for our opponent's next turn. Or the ever-present, probably still will be very present next format, Greninja Break. For item cards, we're playing 4 copies of Versus Seeker. Pretty standard. 4 copies of Ultra Ball, 3 copies of Trainer's Mail to be able to up our consistency, search our deck a little bit, 3 copies of Max Elixir. What's important to note is you can't Max Elixir onto a Mega, so you have to get these early game or get them onto a Mewtwo you haven't Mega'd yet, so you kind of have to play around with it, but that energy acceleration can be really important. So another reason why we're not playing 4 is getting them late game doesn't really help you. 2 was too few, 4 was too many, so obviously 3 is going to be the perfect number for that. And we're playing 3 copies of Mega Turbo, more for the late game, more so we can be a little more aggressive with our Ultra Ball plays, so we can do the infamous Letter Ball play if we have to be able to get Pokemon. You Skyla, get a Professor's Letter for 2 energies, and then Ultra Ball the 2 energies away to go get a Pokemon. You Mega Evolve and then you Mega Turbo those energies back. That can be a really powerful combo. Next, we're playing 3 copies of the Spirit Link because we are playing a Mega. Then we follow that up with 2 copies of Floatstone for our Smeargles and our Hoopa. 1 Super Rod to be able to get things back from our discard pile. The obligatory copy of Escape Rope to stop our opponent's abilities like Jolteon and things like that. And 1 copy of Professor's Letter to be able to go get our energies. Stacking things up like a pyramid like that was certainly fun, but it made picking them up a little bit more difficult. And finally, before we get to our energies, we're going to get into our stadiums. We do play 4 stadiums. We play 3 copies of Shrine of Memories and 1 Parallel City. Parallel City, I think, is going to be a staple in the next format. Most of you know I do a lot of work with Aura Bomb. Him and I are going to be doing a post-rotation discussion video at some point. So we work out some finer details and work out our schedules and things. But him and myself are of the impression that Mega Rayquaza is going to be a huge, huge deck next format because a lot of things that shut it down i.e. Night March, are going to be gone. They're not going to be around to stop it. So at least early format, I think you will probably see a lot of Mega Rayquaza decks, and Pearl City can really help with that because you just shut down their bench and you take away their Skyfield. So you essentially bump 5 Pokemon off their bench at best. Then we play Shrine of Memories. This is important. Each player's evolved Pokemon can use attacks from its previous evolutions, provided you have the attack cost. So basically, on our Mega Mewtwo's, it requires us to have a 2 Psychic, 2 Fighting attack cost as far as our energy goes. So 2 Fighting energies, 2 Psychic energies on it. That way we can have the 2 Fighting energies and the 1 Psychic necessary for Vanishing Strike, but then have 2 Psychics and a Colorless necessary for damage change. And then obviously Vanishing Strike has a 1 Colorless cost associated with it too. So we're going to be playing 4 copies. Sorry, things got a little messed up. 5 copies of Fighting Energy and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 copies of Psychic Energy. Now, the 10 energies, that helps us hit Max Elixirs early game, should we have to. It means we have energy in the deck for Professor's Letter to be able to do things like Letter Ball, and it just generally helps the deck go smoothly. So, that's going to be it for this deck profile. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. The cards that I would like to add from Steam Siege are going to be obviously 1 copy of Pokemon Ranger and 1 copy of Ninja Boy to help with those bad starts, because we are playing a Hoopa deck. We can Ninja Boy Hoopa back into the deck to be able to use it later on in the game. When I get those cards, I might start rethinking the energy count and the elixirs being in the deck. So those might disappear as we get some cards from Steam Siege, but we'll see how this deck shapes up. I think Mega Mewtwo is in a prime spot to be really, really good next format. I think it's a deck you should try out. And it's also just a ton of fun in general. So that's it for the deck profile. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe to the video, please. It really helps me out. And with all that being said, this is Pallet Town Smeargle signing out.